Welcome, everyone, to Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling, and with me, it's been a while since we've had him on here, Jeff Whitcher. How
Hi,
you doing,
Tim. How you
Jeff?
doing?
Good. From Jeff Whitcher's Vinyl Destination. If you're not already following Jeff, be sure and do that. And on this episode, we're going to talk about a band that we've talked about on a few episodes now. We've done a couple of review episodes. We've done a CD episode, but we've never done a Yes vinyl episode. So a lot of cool artwork, a lot of cool things to talk about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the versions I have of the Yes albums compare to Jeff's, and then as the catalog goes along, what do we have that differs? So I think we'll get it started. I'll let Jeff start us off with the debut Yes album from 1969.
That's right. The debut, yeah. No, I know. But for the longest time, I thought that was the first Yes album. I didn't realize that they went further back
Yeah.
on that album. But no, this is the version that I have, Yes's debut album. I know in the UK, there's a different cover. I think they've got that as the cover. And the version I've got, it's got this weird inner sleeve, which
Oh,
I've
okay.
never seen before, but I thought that's kind of cool. And then it's on the classic green and red Atlantic label, but yeah, you can put your name on it and claim it rather than having to write on the record jacket, I suppose, like a lot of people back in the day did when they went to parties and whatnot. But yeah, anyway. Um, and
I've never seen anything like that before.
yeah, isn't that cool? It's
Yeah,
almost like something you would take to school, like a notepad or
exactly.
something. But
Wow. And the fact that yours doesn't have somebody's name on it is quite something too.
it's always a bonus when you find an album that you've been hunting high and low for, and then you've got somebody's name and Sharpie, written on either the jacket or sometimes on the record label. It's always like, oh,
Yeah. Who does that?
disappointment. Yeah, right. I know. I know. It was a thing back, I think, when people took their records to parties and were afraid that they'd get stolen or something. I don't know. But
So so yeah, so the debut Yes album did come out in two different covers. I've got a copy here. I haven't actually had this one too long. This is a Canadian copy of the debut Yes album. That when they put the price tag on here, it didn't come off right. I hate that too. I think I might even hate that worse than somebody writing their name on it, because the stores that do this ought to know better.
sure.
Put the price sticker on the plastic sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. But anyway, yeah, this is an old Canadian manufactured and distributed by Warner Brothers of Canada. So yeah, it looks about the same as yours. Now the inner sleeve is not the correct inner sleeve. This is just the one that was in it. It's actually like a jazz, like a Verve Records, but it's a paper sleeve to protect the record. And mine is actually an old red and black Atlantic logo, which this is what my debut Led Zeppelin record looks like too. And it must have belonged to a radio station, because there's a little maple leaf sticker on here, which I'm not going to try and remove. But I also have the 50th anniversary of this that came out on Record Store Day in 2019, which for a while was the only version of this I had that does have just the big, it's not their logo, but it's the big blobby letters. You can see the Record Store Day, and obviously I'm not opening this. Same tracks on each one, but so yeah, that's our copies of the first Yes album. And like the first Yes album, the second album also had two covers.
Which I have not on vinyl. I've not found that one on vinyl yet.
I
So I'm going to let you show yours.
I just have one, Time and a Word, the second Yes album. Um, this too is this is a Canadian edition, and this one is dubious because it's got Steve Howe on the cover, and he doesn't play on this. It was Peter Banks that played guitar on the first two Yes albums, but he was gone, and there was an original black and white cover with some considered it nudity. It was more arty than anything. But anyway, they shot this band photo, and it's a little bit like, when Kiss reissued Creatures of the Night, and they took the picture with Bruce Kulick, who wasn't even in the band when that album came out.
Well, in that
I,
picture, it looks like it was taken. They went to a family portrait studio and sat
yeah,
for that
this looks like the
picture.
Sears Sears portrait studio. Yeah. Like you could find other band photos with the exact same background. Um,
Exactly.
and we talked about this when we did the CD episode. I've always been amused by these crazy photos of the band members. Um, and they actually do. They've got Peter Banks on here, so like that, it just makes it totally strange. And my copy is the standard red and green Atlantic. And so yes, the if you've watched Jeff's channel, he loves trying to get people all worked up and thinking that he doesn't know, but he does know. So it's just a lot of fun. So yeah, what is actually the third Yes album? The Yes
Yeah.
album.
The
Great
Yes
album.
album. And I think, like we had talked about on our CD episode, they look a little disoriented on this cover. I think because they just been in a car accident the day
Yeah.
before. And, you know, as you can see right there, that's proof positive, leg in a cast. But yeah, this is one of, I consider to be like 3 flawless classic Yes albums. This is the first of them, first in a string of just impeccable, not only Yes albums, but just iconic progressive rock albums. Got that floating head there, which is a bit mysterious. I do not have a custom inner sleeve, but it is on the, I love that green and red Atlantic
Me
label.
too.
That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite labels. Oh, wait a minute. I do. It came in one of these
Okay. Yeah.
sleeves.
I've
I
seen
just
these
don't have the
before.
record in it.
My copy is a Canadian copy, and yeah, what a great album. Same gatefold, and I'm not sure. Yeah, mine just came. The copy I bought just has a plain white sleeve, so it wouldn't be the actual one. Same red green Atlantic logo, and yeah, what a fantastic album. And it's we're just about to get into the really cool artwork with Fragile, 1971.
Yeah, so this is the first time that we have any Roger Dean cover artwork with which Yes would become so strongly associated. In fact, you know, the Yes albums that don't have the Roger Dean artwork tend to be my, you know, not quite as big a fan, just because I love, you know, how well he presented his artwork on their records. But this is Fragile. And they don't yet have the classic Yes logo yet. It's kind
Oh,
of
that's like an embryonic version of it.
yeah, exactly. But I love, you know, this gatefold picture spread, and then on the inside you've got some credits, you've got lyrics. A lot of bands did that with this sort of like textured matte inner, you know,
Yeah.
gatefold. Like Chicago did that on some of their albums. I think Crosby, Stills, and Nash are, you know, one of those bands. But this is, again, the classic Atlantic label. And this is it's like a booklet.
Cool.
And more Roger Dean artwork. You got pictures of the bands.
That's very cool. I don't actually have that. I think I think that's all reprinted inside the remastered CD, but I don't have the vinyl version of that.
Yeah, and this is the inner sleeve that came with it, where you've got the Yes album down here.
Yeah.
And a lot of these, well, you got Led Zeppelin 4.
So it's other albums on Atlantic.
Right.
Yeah, those are interesting when you see just the sheer like variety of because I've got some Rush albums that have sleeves and that showing other releases on Mercury, and it's all over the place stylistically, right?
Yeah, and it kind of gives you an idea, like what other contemporary artists were putting out at the time, and
Yeah.
who was on the Atlantic label at the same time these albums were coming out.
So my copy is a little beaten up. It doesn't have everything that Jeff's does. This is a Canadian copy. But what I like about Roger Dean's artwork, and much like Hugh Syme with Rush, Um, the artwork just seems to complement the music so well. You just it just works, and almost any one of these stills could be used as its own cover. Like it's this, the material's that strong. So the gatefold, yes, it's got lyrics. Like, it's funny because I looked at this. It's only got uh, lyrics to 4 songs, but those are really the only songs that have lyrics,
Mhm.
except for the tell the moon dog, tell the March hare, the we have heaven. But so yeah, so you get a gatefold there like that, and the record is just the standard red green Atlantic, and yeah, I've always loved the looks of that.
Oh.
So now, next up, maybe the definitive Yes album. Fragile is for some people, but I think more people would agree 1972's Close to the Edge. And there it
Yeah,
is.
for me, not only is this my favorite Yes album, but it's my favorite progressive rock album of all time. And I know I'm not alone in that opinion. This is just phenomenal. Um, it's interesting that they went with this as the cover, because on the gatefold, you've got this amazing painting right
Yeah.
here, of which they could have made that the outer gatefold and then done like they did with Fragile, where maybe you have this on one side of the gatefold and maybe this the other. I think this would have maybe made a better inner gatefold, but then it's a striking image. I mean,
I was going to say, it stands out when you're looking, when people post pictures of albums online and they're very small pictures, I can pick Close to the Edge out easily.
Sure.
And it's just such a simple concept. This is the black gradually turning into green, and it's the first time their famous bubble logo is used. So yeah, very, very significant album for them. My
Yeah.
copy is a little more beaten up than yours.
This is actually my second copy, Tim. I had a copy that was, like you say, beaten up, and I'm sorry. This is the inner sleeve that I have. It's got lyrics on it. The version that I had before did not have the inner sleeve. It was a little beaten up. It had some ring wear. Anytime I'm out shopping and I find a copy that's an upgrade, I'll grab it and then give the old copy away to somebody. But
Yeah.
That's
So yeah, my copy does, it must have been just again, I've got I think this is a Canadian copy. These older records, it's kind of hard to tell, but when I bought this, I think what had happened is it must have been sitting underneath a bunch of things. And what happened is it got crushed to the point where, I don't know if you could see that or not, but what's supposed to be on the spine is like, I have to bend it so that you can see it. And it never seems to sit right. It always sits with the bottom part sticking out more. So yeah, this is one that, if I see another decent copy of it, I'll replace it. Got the same lyric sleeve. I like how they continued like the swooping letters here with that. And this time around, yes, standard red green Atlantic logo, but it does have their logo on here. So there's a little bit of personalization. Next up, the first of many live albums for Yes, and the first time they start using their name and mixing it with another word, Yessongs. More just brilliant Roger Dean artwork. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, and this album, I mean, it's a triple album, and in fact, it's a
It's a triple
This is a
gatefold.
really, elaborate gatefold there, and I can't imagine how long it took, Roger Dean to do all the artwork, because you've essentially got 2 gatefolds here.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And the spine is interesting too, because it's got like this spine that opens up like that, which you don't typically see. Another great Roger Dean painting right there.
He loves those like planetoid scapes, doesn't he? Like that's a
Yeah, he does. He does. He's like almost like science fiction.
Yeah.
In the way that he paints. And then this is the booklet that came with it. You got some action shots of the band there. And whatnot. And then these just, for me, these just come in a paper sleeve. There's not any custom sleeve, but they don't have the customized label with the logo like the close to
Yeah,
the edge had.
it's interesting.
Yeah,
Because
so
all those things have to be decided, right? I'm always confused. I'm always intrigued by that. Why? At the 11th hour, no, just print it regular.
yeah.
So my version of this, I actually found it for $5, and I knew paying $5 for this, I wasn't going to be getting a top, but it fills the hole in my collection for now. So, um, yeah, it's pretty beaten up. It's got a lot of ring wear on it. This is a US copy, actually, and much the same as Jeff just showed you. And, not to the detriment, because it's gorgeous, but it's a little cumbersome. And I've got a record slipping out of it. It's a little bit cumbersome, but it's gorgeous artwork. Roger Dean doing some of his best work, really. And yeah, mine's no, well, okay. It says US on the sleeve, but the record itself says manufactured by We Music of Canada. So this might be like a Frankenstein copy where it's got bits from and I couldn't remember, but yeah, mine actually comes with the booklet too, which is pretty cool. I think it's cool that they actually these are not band photos. That's Eddie Offord, the producer, and it must have some of their road crew on here too, which is kind of a nice touch, right? Giving credit to the road crew, and yeah, pictures of the band on stage. So yeah, so that was the first Yes album to come out in 1973. Of course, we've got see, I can't even fold this back up. I'll just put that aside for now.
it's like a map, a road map, trying to
Yeah.
fold that thing back up.
So the next studio album is probably one of the most controversial albums of Yes's career, Tales from Topographic Oceans. Yeah, this is love the artwork. Love the artwork.
Yeah, again, it's got one of these like space themed kind of artwork right there, and you got lyrics here in the center of the gatefold. The sleeves that this came in was, other artists.
Okay, yeah.
On Atco label. And then the first time they have a customized label on the record beyond just having their logo on the label. But yeah, I like this album. It was a grower for me. It didn't immediately when I heard it, just because it's so much to absorb. There's only 4 songs. Each song takes up an entire side. And I remember just kind of being overwhelmed the first time I heard it. But then with repeated listenings, it really reveals a lot of the magic on this record. So if you've only heard it once and you thought, well, it's too bloated, it's too self-indulgent, I just can't follow it. Imagine the songs being broken up. If they had separately indexed some of the tracks on those songs, I think maybe it would have appealed to people a bit more. But the first record is my favorite of the two, and then kind of with each subsequent side, I find I like it less. But
yeah, it's about as self-indulgent as as prog. It's as prog as prog rock could get, really. In Martin Popoff's Yes book, Rick Wakeman is quoted as saying that he wishes they'd have just done a single album, and he said the parts that I like, are brilliant, but when I listen to it, I can tell where the padding is, and it drives me crazy. Like, he can just tell where they just recorded stuff just to fill out, because they didn't quite have enough for a double album, and they had a little too much for a single album. So he wishes they'd have just whittled it down a little more. But yeah, but Ritual is cool. Nous sommes désolés, and I'm not even sure what the parts that I like. I'm not even sure what songs are from. But yeah, gorgeous artwork. I think mine's another Canadian copy. It's got some heavy ring wear on it, and yeah, the inner sleeve is just so cool. And again, all of these different bits of I guess aquatic life. My copy just has plain white paper sleeves, and yeah. So by now, Yes album did okay. Fragile had Roundabout, which is a big hit single. It did well. Close to the Edge did well. They're doing well. So yeah, now they've gotten themselves up to having a customized label on their records, and they follow that up with an album I really, really like. It's it's a strange one, Relayer, 1974.
Yeah, and this is my favorite Yes cover.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Our entire catalog. I love this a lot. I love like this ice castle or whatever image this is. I like the serpent on the back, which is very cool. Makes for a very cool gatefold. Got a band photo here on the inside, and then it's a poem by Donald Lem. I don't even know how you pronounce that, from October of 1974. Another customized label.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this inner sleeve, the original inner sleeve that this came with, has got lyrics to the songs.
I think we have the same version because this one's an American one that I found. I think ours are exactly the same, but yeah, I love this artwork. It's just, it's, this sort of crystalline ice sculpture. You've got, like riders on horseback, and you don't really, if you just look at the front cover, you might miss the snake. You kind of need to flip it over to the other side to see the rest of the snake. So yeah, it's really, really cool. And I really like the album, dude. It's a strange album, but I really like it.
Yeah, you got Patrick Moraz on keyboards when I think Rick Wakeman got frustrated at like for the same reasons you cited with Tales from Topographic Oceans, and decided he was kind of done, left the band, and then they recruited Patrick Moraz. And then the following studio album, Rick Wakeman was back.
Yeah. Rick Wakeman would come and go from Yes several times. So there was a little bit of a break wherein everybody that was in Yes, Rick Wakeman's done like 1 million solo albums, and he already had quite a few at that point. But they made the decision that everyone in the band would do their solo albums, and people make fun of Kiss for doing that. Yes did it first. Every one of those guys, all 5 of those guys, put out solo albums. So sort of as a, I guess to tide things over, Atlantic released in 1975 a compilation called Yesterdays, which again, really cool artwork. And this kind of reintroduces songs from the first 2 albums. And it also has their version of Simon and Garfunkel's America, which actually almost hit the top 40. Never actually belonged to a studio album. So that's on here. And then Dear Father, which was a B-side of, I don't know, Astral Traveler or one of those early songs.
Yeah. I just have a plain white inner sleeve. I don't know what you've got for that record, but it doesn't even list there's got to be an inner sleeve because they don't list the tracks on the back.
There is. And surprisingly, mine's not a gatefold. You'd think it would be. This is a Canadian version. So it's a little bit, reminds me of Journey's In the Beginning, where you've got the Stanley Mouse artwork on that, and it's reaching back to albums before he started doing their artwork. So this is Roger Dean artwork on material he didn't originally do the album sleeves for. But yeah, mine has this inner sleeve that it basically lists information about each track, where it was recorded. Dear Father was the B-side of Sweet Dreams. Okay, so and it lists the band members as they were at the time. And this also has a customized label on it, which is pretty cool. And as you already mentioned,
you can almost look at that as like a promo, almost like a promotional disc for the first 2 albums. And you bought it, and you got 2 tracks that weren't available on a long playing album before. So yeah, I could see it was somewhat value for the money.
I was going to say it was a compilation that had some value at the time, and all those songs have been reissued several times since then. I think America is on the remastered Fragile and Close to the Edge. So it's like, when did you record this, and what was your intention? So yeah, as you mentioned, 1977, they kind of came back with the sort of the classic Yes lineup for Going for the One.
And very strangely, they went with Hypnosis for
Yes.
the artwork on
Yep.
here, which is a little jarring.
Yep.
And, I always make this joke, like, what was it about progressive rock bands in the late 70s and putting naked men on the cover? You got Hemispheres.
Hemispheres. Yeah. Right around the same time period.
Yeah.
At least they
And
kept their
even,
logo. I will say that.
yeah, yeah. And Supertramp on, I think it was Crime of the Century, like the band is naked, except for like they're holding like their hats in their hands. Like on the back cover. It's just, I don't understand what that,
Now,
that trend.
does yours have this sticker on the back with the catalog number? Because this is mine has
No.
the KSD 19106, which is the Atlantic catalog number. And not sure. Yeah, it's looking much the same. And I should. What a great album! This is a great album. And it did fairly well for them. Inner sleeve, and I'm just trying to figure out whether I've got a. Okay, yeah, mine's a Canadian version, which is probably why it's got that sticker on the back. Yeah, and yeah, mine looks just the same there. Now I know for the next one we're going to probably have something different. Sticking with the Hypnosis artwork, 1978, Tormato.
Yeah, and the story behind this album was originally going to be called Yes Tour,
Yes,
and
correct.
for whatever reason, Hypnosis designed this album cover with this gentleman with the divining sticks.
Yeah,
And legend has it that Rick Wakeman saw the cover, didn't like the cover, and threw a tomato at it. And so they just took a photograph of the painting with the tomato that Rick Wakeman had thrown at the album cover. And then on the back, they kind of did the same idea. I don't know if that's urban legend, if that actually happened or not, but it makes for an interesting cover.
I think at one time or another, all five of them have claimed to be the one that threw the tomato. So yeah, it's
one of those.
So yeah, the reason they were going to call it Yes Tour is because there actually is I don't know what you call it, a rock formation. They kind of mentioned it in the liner notes called Yes Tour. So I guess that's
right.
where motto came from. And this album gets a lot of flack, but I actually really like it. I don't think it's produced very well, but I like a lot of the songs on it. I like Don't Kill the Whale. I like Release, Arriving UFO. It's pretty indulgent too, but it's Yes. And they had this brief period where they put these two albums out with the classic lineup again.
Yeah, well, I think it was the first album since Fragile where you had more than 5 tracks on an album.
Yeah.
They've done this string of albums with these long, extended, progressive tracks. And this was kind of, them going back to basics, shortening up their song structures, providing more in the way of songs on an album. And this would be, unfortunately I don't want to say unfortunately, because this was kind of the last time the classic lineup would record together for some time.
Well, yeah, until the 90s, till well into the 90s.
Yeah.
Now, the copy that I have is a Record Store Day version from, I think, 2018, which makes sense. It would have been the 40th anniversary of it. So, yeah, this is the only copy I have of Tormato right now. It's got a little limited edition. What does this say? And it doesn't tell me what number it is, and then on the back, it's got the band photo with all of the song titles. So, yeah, I like this album. Of course, kind of in spite of itself, but I don't like it nearly as much as what came next.
Yeah. Drama.
Yeah.
Now for here, you've got, they brought in Trevor Horn and Jeff Downs because there was some disagreement. They started recording this album, and then John Anderson and Rick Wakeman wanted to go in, I think, a lighter direction than Chris Squire and Steve Howe wanted to go in. And so, it didn't take much to get Rick Wakeman to lead the band. I mean, you could look at him sideways. And
it certainly seems like that.
Yeah, and then, John Anderson, and I wonder if there wasn't a part of them like, well, if I leave, there's no way they can continue on. Who can they possibly replace the voice of Yes with? And they said, well, here's Trevor Horn from the Buggles, and Jeff Downs will play keyboards.
Yeah.
and we can do the heavy album that we wanted to do. And this is definitely their heaviest album. I love
Oh
this
yeah.
album because it
Yeah.
sounds so different than anything that had come before. Mine's kind of a worn copy. You've got another, talking about goofy photographs like there wasn't time in a word.
Yeah.
Doesn't get
I don't
much
know
goofier
what
than that.
I don't know what the thought process was there, but yeah, what a great album. And I've said this many times, like if somebody was curious about Yes, and let's say, they're a big Rush fan like I was, I'd send them right to this album. I wouldn't send them to I don't know that I'd send them to Close to the Edge, because a lot of it would be like there's nothing happening. It's just
Yeah.
John Anderson with his hippie type lyrics and a little bit of acoustic guitar and keyboard. There's hardly any drums on some of the. I'd send him right to drama and say, "No, this album rocks." It's starts right in there with Machine Messiah with that doomy riff. It almost sounds like it could be a Sabbath riff, and it's got maybe one of my favorite, maybe my favorite Yes song, Tempest Fugit, on it.
Yeah.
I just love that song. I love Does It Really Happen? Yeah, it's a great album. To this day, I don't think it's ever been certified gold, which is a crime. So yeah, Roger Dean artwork back. You couldn't mistake this for anything else, right? Beautiful gatefold. Not so beautiful gatefold. And mine's a Canadian copy. So by now in Canada, they were putting the Maple Leaf up here in the corner, and lyric sleeve. Only 6 tracks on it, and really in a way, kind of 5, because White Car, there's hardly anything to it. I don't know. That almost seems like they meant to do more with that song, but they didn't. And my copy anyway is back to the regular red and green Atlantic logo, almost like Atlantic was scared to spend too much money on them now. But yeah, and I think in a lot of people's estimations, that album has gone way up as being one of their best.
Yeah, well, definitely. And if you're a fan of the classic lineup and you don't have that album yet, and you're worried, well, it's going to sound like a Yes album with a different vocalist. I think it does. I mean, I think it's similar to when David Lee Roth departed from Van Halen and they brought Sammy Hagar, and it still sounds like Van Halen. It's just got a different element to it. It's slightly different, because.
And maybe even more so because, I mean, really, Trevor Horn, I don't think he doesn't have quite as high a range as John Anderson, but he sounds like him, especially with Chris Squire's harmonies.
Yeah.
It sounds like Yes. It sounds really, as far as classic, it sounds more like classic Yes than when John Anderson came back.
Right.
So
yeah, I
so
agree.
so they followed that up with another live album, and the live album has actually been stuff that had been recorded for not from the drama tour, oddly enough. Yesshows this time. Great artwork again from Roger Dean. Another double live album. Well, a double live album, not a triple gatefold album this time.
Right. And they have 4 different wide shots of the band, which is interesting. Instead of having close-ups or different shots, it's almost like they just had a camera stationed in the audience and he just took photographs.
Well, also on the Tormato tour, a lot of people talk about Def Leppard doing this, but Yes actually toured in the round first, with the stage in the middle rotating so that everybody had a front row. So
that would have been great to see them live back then.
Yeah, and I like the fact that this covers the Going for the One and Tormato periods for the most part.
Yeah, it's like Kiss Alive 2 in that way. They didn't replicate any material from the Yessongs album, I don't think.
No, all they do, they go way back for Time in a Word, and they also do the Gates of Delirium. So that's the track that Patrick Moraz is on. And again, mine's a Canadian copy. It's got the little maple leaf on here, but I prefer this to Yessongs myself, because I've said this before. When Rick Wakeman starts to go into his Catherine the Great and all of that, look, he's a great musician. I know I appreciate the work, the musicianship, but I'd rather hear another Yes song. So that's what the records look like. And at this point, Yes, we're sort of on hiatus. John Anderson's doing both solo albums and working with Vangelis. Of course, Steve Howe and Jeff Downs form Asia and do very, very well for at least the first couple of albums. Yeah, there's a obviously the big, a lot of people talk about the XYZ, which is where you had X members of Yes and Zeppelin. So you're supposed to Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, Chris Squire, and Alan White. That never got past the point of some demos. So really, there was nothing going on in the Yes world. So wisely, Atlantic Records says, well, we better put some product out.
Yeah.
So they put out Classic Yes.
This was the first Yes album that I ever owned because it had all my favorite stuff, the stuff that I was familiar with on the radio. And if you're a Yes fan and you're looking for a great entry point, if you like the 70s Yes and you're not sure which album to buy, or maybe you don't need kind of those deeper album tracks that you find, there's nothing from Close to the Edge. Well, there actually is, but as far as, And You and I is the only track off of Close to the Edge, but it's probably the shortest track on that album. But at any rate, got Heart of the Sunrise, Wonder Stories, of course, Yours Is No Disgrace on here, Starship Trooper, Long Distance Runaround, and The Fish, and You and I. So it's a pretty compact, greatest hits compilation.
For a single disc, Yes compilation that's still readily available today. It's a good start.
Yeah.
I love the silver. I love the silver logo on the front cover.
Yeah,
that just looks really striking.
Yeah, kind of that chrome. Yes, logo there. And then again, I don't know why they're bouncing around. Custom label, and then back to the regular Atlantic label. But that's.
So what's rare about this for me is that it's one of these odd things that happens once in a while where they'll put a record out that has like a bonus thing with it. So my copy is a Canadian copy, and it's a little beaten up. It's really not in too bad of shape. So by now, not only have I got the Maple Leaf here, but they put these stickers on. They put them on 8 tracks and cassettes too, would have like the Warner W on them. But it also came with a live sort of EP, I guess, single. And the copy I found actually has it. So it's got a live version of Roundabout and I've Seen All Good People. And it's got a small hole label, the old Atlantic, the way it's written, and Classic Yes here. And this is the record itself. So yeah, no customization. Of course, the big news, 1983. It's one of the only instances I can think of where someone goes from being the singer in a band to the producer of a band. And, most Yes fans know the story. They were going to call themselves Cinema. They had got Trevor Rabin in on guitar, who'd brought a lot of songs on his own. Eventually it came out as Yes, and it was their biggest album, 90125.
And, again, they're abandoning Roger Dean. I guess maybe they thought, well, it's a new decade. We need a new image. We got a new lineup, and but very successful. And a lot of people in my generation, this was their gateway, their entry.
Definitely when they came on my radar was Owner of a Lonely Heart. I mean, that was a huge song.
And I think in large part to MTV, because you had Owner of a Lonely Heart on heavy rotation. They actually did a promotion for the song Leave It, had like 5 different videos. And I remember MTV promoting the hell out of that with the premiere of Yes's new video. And, they showed like all 5 versions of it or something like that. But this has got a inner sleeve with lyrics on it, like most 80s albums did. And then mine is this Atco.
That's the standard. Yeah, that's the standard Atco. A couple of my Vandenberg records look like that. And of course, 9125 was just the catalog number. They actually had to change it a couple of times. It was supposed to be 90124. It's funny, but it's funny because it's just a catalog number, but it does kind of have a ring to it.
Right. And this is a 12-inch single for Owner of a Lonely Heart. It's got a long version on side A and then a short version on side B.
Yeah, it must have seemed so strange to those guys. I mean, here they are, been around for a long time. They're trying to get out there again, and they have a #1 song. Like, it's huge. So yeah, computerized graphics, which were probably pretty cutting edge at the time. My copy's Canadian, so it's got the Maple Leaf on it. and it's the same, yeah, all the same stuff that that yours has. And then it gets a little confusing because the next thing to come out is a live album called 9012 Live: The Solos, with almost identical cover art. As a matter of fact, I've got a couple tour books that someone gave me, and the tour books for the 90125 tour look like the cover of 9012 Live because it's got a map of the world on it too.
Mm-hmm. And then you got individual band pictures.
Yep.
Back, and I've just got a regular paper inner sleeve, and then what I think is the ugliest Atco label, if not one of the ugliest labels.
Yeah, mine's like that too. Mine's just the same as yours, except it's Canadian, and not the easiest CD to find.
Yeah, I don't have it on CD, but I'm on the lookout.
The version I have is on Friday Music, which is a reissue label, and it's kind of cool because it has a couple of bonus songs. It's got City of Love and one of the other songs from 90125, City of Love, and Our Song. I can't remember what the other one was. But yeah, so next up, 1987, still the Trevor Rabin era, still with a heavily computerized graphics. Big generator, and we actually have the same. There's different colors, but we actually have the same color scheme for ours.
Is yours a Canadian?
Mine is a Canadian Columbia House issue.
Okay.
But yeah, I've seen ones that are yellow and pink, and like the CD's a different color, and the cassette's a different color, and it's got this same type of. Yeah, and because 90125 was so big, yeah, this time around they get a customized record label. I also have a single from this album, Love Will Find a Way, same type of graphics. This one, I bought this used, and it's got this thing on it that says, please return to London Weekend Television Music Services. And I'm guessing this is like a library where you sign it out or they'd stamp it. It says promotional copy only, not for resale. And the single itself, it's UK, so it's got a small hole on it. It's got that old repeating Atco side is the song Holy Lamb. Now after this, there's a big gap for me because I don't have the Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman Howe album. I don't have anything until 2015. I'm not sure what you have for vinyl.
I got nothing.
Okay.
That's my last.
I've got very little more. And actually, this is the only thing I have this on. Yes, Like It Is at the Mesa Arts Center. This is when they were doubling up on albums, and this one has them doing Close to the Edge and Fragile in their entirety. And this is the this is after they got John Davison, so this is post Benoit David. And this is 2015. It's on Frontiers Records. It's cheaper to find this on vinyl than it is on CD. I do want to find it on CD eventually. The next thing I have, actually both these things we've done review episodes on. And this is just the Royal Affair Tour from Las Vegas. Good, like we talked about, good track listing. Still don't understand why they bother doing Imagine, but I get the whole Alan White thing. But again, the cover art, always very cool. And then finally, the most recent Yes album, which I'm still really, really digging, The Quest on vinyl. So there you go. Lots of cool artwork and lots of cool stuff on the inner sleeves as well. What should we be looking for Yes stuff? Did we somehow miss something along the way? Once it gets to the 90s, I find it's really, really tough to keep up with the vinyl because it's so expensive.
Yeah, like I think, Union is probably out there available, like an original pressing somewhere. I've seen it, I just haven't picked it up. I don't know. I don't know what else beyond, because I don't think like any of their other, like I don't think Talk, Open Your Eyes, I don't think anybody cares if that ever gets.
No, and I don't think either, like the Keys to Ascension. I don't think the latter. Magnification's on vinyl. I've seen it. I've seen the symphonic album on vinyl. Um, I'm pretty sure Fly From Here, or one of the versions of Fly From Here, and probably Heaven on Earth, but who cares?
I would love to see Keys to Ascension, like a record store day
Yeah,
repressing that record. That would be very cool.
yeah. And just put the studio tracks on it.
Hmm.
Yeah. So there
Yeah.
you go. That's Jeff's and mine collection of Yes vinyl. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to follow Jeff Whitcher's Vinyl Destination. And thanks, Jeff, for sitting in.
Yep. Thanks, Tim.
Always
Enjoyable
fun.
as always. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
and
it's
we'll,
very nice that because with Alan White having just passed away,
yeah,
it's great to
pay
show
a
some
little,
yes
pay a
records.
little tribute for sure. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching this edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions.